So welcome to the episode 4 of Training, Thought and Truth. I'm here with Jimmy McGuirk, a good friend of mine who's been into bodybuilding since last 15 years, probably plus I'd say. Jimmy was always big into the bodybuilding, and we're going to go through some tips that he's picked up over the years that he's also passed on to me, would help me out an awful lot, form, bits and things like that. But firstly, I want to pull it back a little bit to say, I keep saying the idea behind the podcast is being mentally, physically and stronger. It's not just the idea of the podcast, that's actually how I would have kind of went through in my own head how I would have looked at a goal I had to achieve, or looked at my own way of living in terms of that. But anyway, first of all, we'll get into the training side of things. So what got you into it? I remember all of a sudden you were talking about weightlifting. There was no talk about it, then all of a sudden you were flat out at it. But it always an interest to you. I remember you always had the magazines all around your house and all. What got you into the weightlifting side of things?
I suppose obviously younger, growing up watching wrestling, seeing like the likes of The Rock and all that, like, you know, and they were all big men, like, so
the attitude era,
yeah, the best era, our era. But like, remember watching all them, like, and thinking, my God, like the size of them, like, or even like watching films like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and all, and like they were like bigger than life, like, and Van Damme and all them guys. And I suppose like I was, you know, only 11, 12, like, and no muscle development yet at all, like, and then
everyone wants to be them guys in a way as well, don't they? Like,
yeah, they do, like, because, you know, your reaction when you see them first is like, whoa, look at them guys there, like, you know, the size of them, like, or look at that, like, and then like you were like you want to be like that then as well, like, you know. But I had an uncle there, he was big, and I remember he gave me the video, like VHS at the time, pumping iron with Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno and all that, like, and I remember watching that, like, and seeing Schwarzenegger, like, back in the weights out, like, and people saying, Jesus, like, that's the way to go, like, you know. So then I remember I was around 14, my father asked me, like, what do you want for Christmas, like, you know, and I was like, weights, like, you know, and so he was like, oh, I wouldn't mind getting a few, like, myself, like, for because he wanted to start doing a bit at home as well, you know, because with work and stuff, like. So we went up to a warehouse in Dublin. I can't remember what the place it was, but like they had all the multi-gyms and barbells, etc. Like, so got this multi-gym first, and
I remember you had that thing. That was a great deal.
Yeah, that was good. I remember we used to be over there, like, and we couldn't lift up like 20 or 30 kilos on it then as time progressed, like, but started lifting them then and started to develop a little bit more, like. And I remember the first time I ever worked out, like, and I got that, like, what we call the pump, like, you know, just my arms just swelled up, like, and it was really tight, like, and I was just like, whoa, this is amazing.
As well, I think that you're saying about your uncles, do you think it has some effect or bearing that the whole, you know, your family's a big farming family and they would have been big guys, that kind of helped you out an awful lot frame wise going into the weightlifting, kind of fell into it almost, didn't it, a bit?
Yeah,
genetics
would have, yeah, genetics, yeah, like my father back in the day, like, he would have been loading 50 kilo bags of manure into the spreader, like, and lifting them, like, he would lift 20 bags in a day, like, you know, or more, way more, and my uncles as well, like. So I kind of come from generations. And then on my mother's side, like, my grandfather, he was a big man, like, and my uncle then as well, he was big and strong.
Farmers as well?
No, they weren't farmers, but like just big men, like, you know. His father and grandfather would have been big, like, and they're just strong. Mightn't look a whole lot strong, but really, like, core strength, you know.
Yeah. What about, you think as well? See, a lot of people can jump into the weightlifting, but it almost takes it a little while before you realise good form, you know, weightlifting, or else someone has to show you it. You know, I remember you would have shown me the proper way of lifting weights, you know, military press, the way to do it not to injure yourself. The deadlift, that'd be a big one, you know, that'd be a serious one if you did it wrong. chest press, warming up, like just kind of warm up the muscle and stretching it a bit with light weights, very light weights before you get into it. It's all really important stuff, isn't it? But like, it's not a matter of just walking into the gym. How heavy can I lift? There is a lot to do with form and injury and warming up and the right muscle groups and everything like that, isn't there? It's a big part of it, huge part of it. What would your knowledge? Where would your knowledge have came from all that? Would you have got that from documentaries, or would you have been digging into it?
Yeah, I suppose like YouTube, when watching videos on YouTube, like of how to perform certain repetitions or get your form right, bits and bobs like with that, like, and that would have been in the last couple of years, like, well, not the last couple, I'm saying like the last 10 years, when I was around 20 onwards, like,
when YouTube kind of blew up.
Yeah, kind of blew up, and there was more videos. Like, but before that, it would have been like older guys in the gyms that I would have went to, like, say, if I was doing like rows or something like this, like, I remember there's one lad there, and he'd always, like, he was sound, like, he'd come over and he'd say to you, like, you're doing that wrong, like, just if you arch your back a bit more and get the elbow down, get it in, you get a better stretch, better pull on it, better rep, like. So
yeah, it's good. Funny enough, you mentioned YouTube, and YouTube, you can find anything on YouTube, can't you? Almost, like, I'm learning a song, there's always someone. You just put an acoustic lesson and you find it. But same thing with weightlifting. There's a lot of good channels there that there's a lot of ideas out there, different types of diets and different types of workouts that they claim to work but don't really work. Don't do that. YouTube is a great way of, you'll see what it hits them by the comments, and by, you can tell by how certified someone is, to follow it. It's a good idea. But as well, we were talking a little bit earlier on about, we just came from the gym straight away. We were talking about earlier on there, but different diets that go along with the training. For example, if you wanted to cut weight, if you wanted to, bulk, there's a whole different way of lifting weights as well as eating, isn't there? Like, they say light and a lot of reps, where heavy and fewer reps. That'd be right in saying that as well, wouldn't it? Like, if you have different aims or goals.
Yeah, it all depends on what you want. Like, if you want like t-shirt muscle, look really good and ripped, like, you might have to lift big weight, like, but you can do a lot of reps and eat clean, like low carb diet and a lot of protein. And then if you want to just, like, bulk up, like, just look big, then it's all about, eat lots of high protein carbs, rice, like nice fish, cottage cheese, stuff like that, like,
And it's a big benefit as well. A lot of people don't think about lifting weights as a big benefit. They always think of cardio when you're saying exercise, but they've shown the effects of weightlifting for holding off arthritis and fusing. Your bone density actually increases the heavier weights you lift, and just your heart health. I do keep a fitness tracker on me even when lifting weights, and you can see afterwards it gives you the amount of fat burn you've done from lifting weights as well. But that idea, there's an idea kind of developing. You bite off a little more than you can chew, kind of weight wise. You develop yourself. And you do that in normal life. I think you can carry that over to other things. You bite off a bit more you can chew. Say if you're going for a role in the job, or you're going for something, and you develop yourself. You put yourself in an uncomfortable position. So, like, the heavier weight might be uncomfortable, and sometimes you need a spotter, which is an important thing. But that's how you develop yourself, isn't it? You put yourself under that strength. But I do think you need to know your limits, how far you can reach sometimes, because you can really injure yourself with heavy weights, can't you?
Yeah. Like, it's crucial to know what you're at when you're lifting heavy weights, because if you go in there and you go to squat well beyond your limit, like, you're in trouble. Or even bench press, unless you have a spotter, like. But if you have to know what you're at, so, like,
and even fatiguing, like you say, like, you have to know what you're at. Like, if you go in on a Monday, like, the way I work after years, sometimes I think lifting weights week in, week out, for you, it takes a few years before you develop some kind of rhythm that makes sense. Like, on a Monday I do chest and triceps. Now, I wouldn't do shoulders the next day, because I'd be working the same kind of muscle groups that are still a bit sore from the previous day. So I might do back rows the next day, or I'll do legs then, or something in between them two, And then cardio, I do the cardio on a Thursday before I do leg day, because if you do a good leg day, you roll off for a day or two anyway.
Yeah.
So it is good to as well. I think sleep is a big factor there, because I find if I'm in any way a bit tired, I won't lift as much. Definitely not. And you might still get a workout because your heart rate is high, but you're probably not building as much muscle as you want to do. And sleep as well. I think if you do a good solid workout with weights, it's like you almost need an extra hour in the bed, isn't it? You need that bit to recover more and build. Do you find the same?
Well, you see, that's the thing. That's when you grow, when you sleep, when you rest. You don't grow in the gym. People make that mistake. Like, you never grow in the gym. You only tear the tissue in the gym, the fibers. That's and like bodybuilding, no matter what you're doing, it's always going to be between 80 to 90% diet and 10 to 20% training.
They say that, don't they? It's like 80-20 or something like that.
Depending on what you're going for. If you're really like looking to like have the bodybuilder look like the Mr. Olympias, and like all the lads do on stage, like that's 90%. That's a pain in the ass. Like, but then if you just want to, just like look big and strong, or if you want to have like a good set diet, like it's around 70 to 80%.
Yeah, and I think as well, if you're trying to achieve, at the moment I'm not trying to bulk too much. I'm trying to get the healthy, line in the middle. I like doing my weights, but I like doing cardio, and I want to, keep a trim body. So what I found has helped. I don't like the 80-20 thing where people say altogether you need to do 80% diet, 20% gym. You're probably dead right for weightlifting, but in terms of like overall trying to keep yourself right, I think you have to get in and do exercise. You couldn't forget about it altogether, because I think that if you look at a workout, and say if you went for a run and you ate well for the rest of the day, but if you didn't do the run and you just ate well all week, you probably lose weight. You won't tone up though. And as well, when you do a cardio, I think it speeds up your metabolism. So even you put yourself in fat burning mode afterwards. So like your speed food work better and all that. But I think the same with lifting the weights. When you lift the weights afterwards, that's crucial. Then the diet really comes in, doesn't it? They say get some lean protein into you straight away, get a good carb dinner probably beforehand if you're going on a serious one, and then leave protein afterwards. Like it's diet is crucial, isn't it, for whatever you do? But I think that the workout itself really needs a good focus on, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, like if you go to the gym and you work out and you really train hard and get like a good muscle, like if you're doing your chest, say, and you really hit the pecs hard, like they're going to be starving for protein afterwards if you're lifting heavy weights to rebuild. And if you don't give the body the nutrients that it needs for that to rebuild, then you're actually doing kind of, I wouldn't say worse damage, but you're kind of sending mixed signals to your brain, your muscles, to say like, you're training hard, but you're not getting the results, you're not getting the benefits out of it either. So you won't actually grow, you won't build and grow as strong because your body doesn't know where it's going. Whereas if you get the proper food into you, about an hour after the workout, and then plenty of rest, and then good food like the next couple of days afterwards, like that's when you'll start to kind of body kick in.
Another funny thing we were talking about there earlier on, we used to work out the whole time lifting weights. Then you go back at it after you've taken a break, and this always happens sometimes around Christmas, and it takes you a session or two, but usually that's all it takes, because we're talking about muscle memory earlier on. Like once you get a few light reps done, all of a sudden you find, if you've done it before, you'll find your rhythm again, don't you? You might be as fresh straight off the mark as if you were in there the day before, but if you leave for a while, a session or two, you can end up being back up to where you were very quickly. I find that's good. It's a funny one, isn't it?
Well, like you'll never get right. Like I remember years ago, I was really heavy into it when I was around 22, 23. Like I went through the whole diet thing, the lifting, whacking serious weights out of it, and then obviously I met my wife, like, and we had kids, and then it just all went downhill after that. Like it was just, I might get to the gym maybe twice a week, and then it was once a week, and then it just went completely. For about a year, I'd say I was unfair. Like I hadn't been in the gym. I remember we used to go in a couple of times.
Yeah, in the evenings and stuff. Yeah,
and we'd like, it's not like what we used to do. Like
no. Like that's the thing. Other things come up in life, and you have to try and balance your priorities a bit. but I've always said it, and I've said it here a few times. You have to be able to. Sometimes you have to be a bit selfish to look after your own health.
Yeah.
And now, I'd never ignore, spending time with your kids and things like that. But, if you're making a few hours for yourself, watching your favorite program or watching TV in the evening, that's when you do it. You get out, and do your few bits, because then you feel much better for it. I was saying earlier, there's the idea of biting off more than you can chew in a lot of ways. It also, the gym brings that element into you a bit. I think it instills that a bit in you. You push through your barriers. There's someone else there helping you out a lot of times as well. You get the right form. You develop yourself. You feel a bit better about it. It's better health wise. But I think you carry that on a bit into your workplace. But not only that, I think the whole idea of developing yourself and biting off more you can chew also, helps those around you. If you take that home, you become, you try to become a better person for all occasions. I think it is true. It does, the same kind of concept comes in. But then what makes a difference? Why do you want to, make yourself better or help those around you, or why even make the effort? A lot of people don't make the effort.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Sit at home, don't want to do anything else, just want to. Eating nice food feels great. Doing whatever you want feels great. I think that ties in a bit with faith, a small bit there as well. If you want to benefit those around you, benefit yourself. Are you a strong believer in? Would you be faith based yourself?
I would, yeah. Now, I wouldn't be mad churchgoer or anything like that, but I do 100% believe, and I'd say my prayers every night for my kids, my wife, my family, and I as regarding faith, I believe, because there's been a couple of things in my life that have happened and I put down to signs, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, right, there's somebody higher looking over you, or watch somebody watching out for you, or, like if you ever have like something like, oh, I should have, where should I go out tonight, and then you'd be like, might be something that could come up that you can't go out.
Yeah, simple day-to-day things like that.
Yeah, something like that, or like if you were to go into the town and then you said, oh, something came up, you couldn't go into town, and you found out that there was a crash or something, or there was something, it doesn't have to be like something.
Yeah, or even you're at home while someone's going through something tough, or sometimes, I remember my father saying to me before, I was in a tough spot and I was talking to him, and he says, you'd be surprised at how things work out. Now he's not a believer in that, but he said you'd be surprised at how life works itself out, and it did. Sometimes you don't worry about it, you step back and you do what you're meant to do. And I'd be the same. I kind of came to my own faith through things that happened to me as well. Not a big churchgoer, still not. I don't think that's that important, to be honest. But I think you start to see things in a new light a bit. I tend to appreciate things more. Even going for a walk in the evening, or when just taking everything in, even life now. I think you can't take things for granted. When we have kids this age, it's a magical time, isn't it? It's an amazing time seeing them grow up and take them on holidays and whatever else.
Makes it all worth it.
Yeah, it does make it all worth it. And you work a lot of hours, and once you get home and they're there and you have the fun, then you bring them over to each other's houses, and they have. I think it's a big thing. But I think I found a lot of my faith became evidentially based then. A few things happened to me then. I think that, like working out or like doing exercise like that, if you get into something, you have to dig into it and really find the roots of it and why it's good or why I should do it. Is there a point to it?
You get curious.
Get very curious, yeah. And I think that's a bit of the force working on you a bit. I remember I said, right, I may dig into this, because if it's this, it's going to be important. A lot of people dismiss, become atheists as a 14 or 15-year-old. They're dismissing it with an uneducated, unsophisticated mind. It's the most important thing in the world, I think. I often say, you want to go back at that again, and look at it as an adult, and actually look at, well, if I don't believe that, what do I believe? Do I believe the Big Bang, where everything exploded from nothing? Because that's all they have, and that is what they say. It rained. I remember 14.8 billion years ago. nothing exploded. That's what they say. And then everything came out of nothing, and the Earth was a hot rocky surface, and it rained on the rocks for millions of years, and that turned into the oceans and became a chemical soup from the rain on the rocks, and the first reproductive life form was born there. Now, who it mated with or what it ate, who knows? To me, it's looking into it similar to the story of the princess kissing the frog and then becoming the prince. It's the same story, just over millions of years.
People that are atheists can't believe God. I think it's all bullshit.
They think people are foolish there.
Yeah, it's something kind of similar. It's two different it's two different extremes. If you believe that, if you believe whatever. No, I respect everyone's decision and opinion. Everyone's entitled to
But funny enough, when you say that, when I start believing more, it's like people realised, I remember I'd be out and I wouldn't bring it up and I'd be challenged over it. A lot happened that year, and people found out, they saw me wearing a cross. What the fuck are you doing wearing that, no, everything is waves, and you're stupid, to think that. Then I wasn't equipped, to answer them. There's a line in Peter 3:15. It says, "Always be prepared to give an answer to those who ask you for a reason they hope you have, but do this with gentleness and respect." So the more I read, the more I was equipped to answer them. I was kind of like, well, hold on, you believe everything exploded out of nowhere, that matter doesn't create itself. There's the first two laws of thermodynamics, and I was able to, say, which is, it doesn't come into existence out of nowhere, and everything degrades over time. So how people came from a piece of sludge, or how. So I got big into it in that way. But then I felt as though, I began to see things in a new light and appreciate things more, and started to develop myself to become a better person with that behind me. And that's when I'm talking about the training, thought and truth. I haven't really explained that properly before, but that's where the spiritual side, that's where the truth comes from. It's this drive to exercise, this drive to keep your mind mentally sharp, but there's also a drive to better yourself as a person. I think you need that. For years I was, to be physically and mentally prepared for the world, and then now I felt there was something missing there. I didn't know what it was. That seems a bit shallow, but that spiritual side helps me become a better person for my family or for my friends, become more genuine. I used to be very materialistic. I think not even that long ago, I always wanted the newest shirts or the best shoes and things like that. I think you go through a bit of maturity as well, probably with age. But do you ever find, sometimes you have to step back, and it takes a big man to look at your flaws, to sit down and say, well, look, this is the things that's wrong with you, and you better set it right.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that kind of? It might come after an argument sometimes, where you're kind of like, I'm not always right here. I have to, you have to sit down and really look at it again. And I think the idea of, symbolically, when you're lifting weights, you're bettering yourself, you're biting off more than you can chew, you're developing yourself, you're becoming who you could be. That's the idea there. And you might never be who you could be, but as long as you're aiming high at it, the same thing mentally and spiritually, I think that's how they tie in all together.
Yeah.
What do you only take on it?
Yeah, well, what would you say? You can never set yourself a limit, because you have no limits. If you put your mind to something, you can accomplish anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Loads of people always say that, but it is true. I think, and you mightn't get to where you want, but even if you get halfway there, at least it's halfway closer to what you want than where you were before you started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then as regarding lifting weights and stuff, going to the gym, not everyone has to go to the gym just to lift weights and just to flex and just be big and strong. You can go to the gym and just
That's a misconception, isn't it? Everyone thinks that they're just going there to be big and strong, to look big and strong. There's a whole psychology of looking after yourself that goes along with that.
Well, it could be muscle rehab. Yeah. Someone could have a knee tendon tear or something like this, and they might have to just go to do a small little bit of squats with dumbbells or something.
Yeah, I think everyone should be lifting weights.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you have a body there, and you have to look at it and think, what does it need? It needs good food, it needs good rest, it needs good exercise, training, and you have to be disciplined, physically, mentally, and spiritually. I think it, and going in doing something as simple as learning how to lift weights can set you up and carry that mentality on. I think like I said, it holds off arthritis, and it builds fuses your muscles stronger. And I think the idea of if I don't get a good sleep, sometimes I sit in the canteen and you don't feel as good as you could for the day. There's always time you can make for it, and you should make for it. And I know people listen, might be too far gone to lift weights or not too far gone to exercise, but nobody is.
No.
You go in at your own stage of your own journey, lift the 10s if you need to, lift them next day if you need to. Don't jump until you're ready. But I would advise you go in with someone who knows what they're doing. I think that helped me a lot when I went in with you initially, because I like to you knew the form. Now you always lifted heavier than me, but I knew if you're lifting 34s, I was like, well, I better lift the 30s today, and at least someone was there to spot you, and I think that doing that as well, I did a bit of cycling where the guy in work here was big into cycling, and I said, well, I'll get a bike as well, and I went out with him and he was firing on ahead, but if you work out with someone who knows what they're doing and is that much above you, it develops you, it pushes you on. I said same thing with going for a run with Quinn. He was firing on and he only got through it because of it. And then even now we don't work out together because I work in Dublin, you work in a Thai. The way our schedules are, there's a gym around the corner from you, there's a gym around the corner from me. Doesn't make sense, but I carry on what we learned and the form and everything like that. And I think it's important to do that, isn't it? Before you jump into something, you need to look to other people as well to help you out, give you advice and things.
Yeah, exactly, like advice or just a bit of motivation. Like we haven't been in the gym in must be a year now or more, is it?
Yeah, at least
probably more actually.
Yeah,
and then we're like there today, like we get in and we do a bit like it's kind of like all time sticking in, and you're kind of pushing each other.
But even now I find we were doing a few exercises that I hadn't done in a while, where you were still showing me drop the weight right down, doing the rows or whatever, and just get the stretch, and there's a lot of muscle groups to hit, and sometimes you can get a bit complacent, you go into your flat bench, and as well I was talking about there's different ways of lifting weights, like there's a boxer's way of lifting weights. The only way you can explain it, like everything's explosive from there, or it's just time under tension where you contract and you keep it long, or there's different stretches, how far you go and all. But it's interesting stuff anyway, I think, So will you think you'll get back stuck into it soon? Or you've already started, haven't you? Getting back, because life can throw you off course for a long time, can't it?
That's like, because I get like an hour for lunch in my job, and rather than sit in the canteen and eat for an hour, I'll become
very same idea.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Or either go home, like and then you're only waiting around to go back to work. I said to myself, I'm going to start using this hour.
That's a gift in itself, opportunity-wise, isn't it? Like I'm the very same. Less than a kilometre away, there's the gym. You have your food. You don't need to take long to eat your food. Go and do 30 minutes. 30 minutes is better than
30 minutes is, like, a lot of people make the mistake as well. You go to the gym and spend hours in the gym. That's a disadvantage.
Yeah.
I only train now 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
At an hour and back, like half an hour each muscle group.
It's the very same as me.
Yeah. So I do back Monday, just back. Then Tuesday, I'll vary later.
That's all you need, isn't it?
Yes, because you don't want to fatigue the muscle either. Well, depending on what you want, anywhere between 8 to 10 reps is good just to kind of maintain. But obviously, if you want to build muscle, 5 reps with big heavy weight, because if you can do any more than 5, then you're not lifting heavy enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people make the mistake as well is doing reps, like having to get 10 reps and then stop. I go a lot by feel as well, like.
Yeah, absolutely. How you feel on the day,
Or like, if I'm doing a repetition, to feel. If I don't feel the muscles contracting enough in that rep, I'll mix it up,
Absolutely, yeah.
Stretch it out, or do something more unorthodox with, like,
Yeah. And there's a big thing, building up to the weight, but also cooling down with the weight as well, isn't there? Because I find you can lift, you can hit the 34s and you're up and you're good, and then you're gonna, you say you're doing flats, you're gonna incline the bench, but sometimes they drop down to 16s. And they're tough after 34s. They're a lot tougher. But you can, it's you get a good, you can do 20 or 15 reps of them, and you'll still have to stop then.
Well,
even if it's half the weight.
The muscle is already, it's warm now, and the blood is rushing to it. So yeah, you're going. The muscle's starting to fatigue.
Yeah.
And once that starts to happen, then it's working. The tissue's being tore. And
do you find that your kids motivate you to work out?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah, big time. Because I think it was last year. It was summer last year. I was talking to my wife about it, and like I'd on bit of weight, I remember I was out and I seen myself, my reflection in the window, and I remember, like, my shoulders and everything, and my stomach was big, and I was just like I wasn't what I used to be, and like I'd look at pictures back from years ago and I was with her as well, and even when the kids were born, like, it was just like, so I said, here, I don't want to be one of them, the father that like can't run around with his kids,
yeah,
or can't even, like,
especially not at this age.
No, especially not, like, 30 years of age, like, you still have a good 10 years before you're even starting to set your limits,
Yeah.
But like I was just like my kids now like love me, like wrestle on the lawn with them, and I'd have them pick them up, like, and spin them around, like, like run around with them playing, like
it's that. A good model to go off as well. Your kids see, their father young, fit and strong, eating well, they'll follow that.
Exactly.
And all the better for them, because they're going to eat well, it puts years on your life, it gives you a higher quality of life.
It's like, when we were kids, like, and I remember being in primary school, and you'd be like, the other kids would just like my daddy's muscle is like this big.
My daddy's stronger than yours.
Yeah, I'd be like, but daddy's muscle is like this big, and you're just like, if if actually, when you're standing next to the fathers, and like if you're anyway, you don't have to be big, like, just have to be fit, like, even, you can always tell someone that's fit because they have the structure to it. If you see that, like, then it's
you don't know how far that can go. It might not just be your son, it could be your nephews, it could be other people. You could motivate someone else's father, someone like dropping by your house, a friend or a cousin, and they could see that you're looking after yourself, see you eating well, see it like running around with your kids, and that ripple effect could pass on to them. So it might necessarily be you're just doing it well. There's an idea, like, even this idea of this podcast, I think, in some ways, some people would say, well, why would you even do it? What's the point of doing it? But I know there's an idea that your actions go a lot further than you think. It's like a stone thrown in a pond where the ripples move outwards. I know how far will it reach, or how far will anything reach, but there's an idea you're a node in a network of people, so at least 1,000 people, and they in turn know 1,000 people, so that puts you one person away from 1,000,000 and 2 people away from 1,000,000,000, and that's how everyone's connected and how far you can reach. So I think it's important, you can, it's a good example to set for other people, and it's a good way to develop yourself and to carry on that mentality.
Yeah.
So I think that that's how important it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's lead by example.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If you do good, then people do good by you. You do bad by people do bad by you. If you don't have respect for somebody, you can't expect them to respect you.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Treat as you'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
Or even like a good deed, goes a long way.
It does, yeah, and I think that comes, with you have to look out for other people and look after yourself, and that comes with the spiritual side of things.
It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
I think from the spiritual side, it's your, like, if you can do good by somebody, then it's your responsibility and your duty to do it.
Yeah.
And that can be anything. Like, it can even be helping someone out when they're down and out. Like, and it doesn't matter what. Any example. Just do good by somebody. And
well, no, it is, and it's important. And I think people notice that in you when you have that kind of change. And again, it leads by example. But fair play. I appreciate you coming in and doing the workout and all. Hey, Jimmy.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Come on. Thanks.